Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about the American public's response to Trump so far. Now, remember the very beginning of his first term and the Million Women March and really protests and people up in arms. And it just hasn't seemed nearly as strong this time around. There's been a kind of maybe collective shrugging of shoulders as just people have kind of just assumed, well, that's Trump and that's what we've gotten. And there's also been this focus that seemed to have carried him to the election, notwithstanding real concerns about legal and constitutional abuses, about, to summarize, the price of milk in supermarkets. Okay, so basically, we have some pretty good information in about how he's doing, and it's not great. In fact, it's worse than any president ever at the beginning of his term, with the exception of Donald Trump 1.0. And that it's a pretty dramatic exception, actually, because he had been at the beginning of his term before really way underwater, and now he's a little underwater. I think it's 47 to 52. He find that he's disapprove of him, and the same percentage that he's gone too far in using his presidential power. So we have a 47-52 benchmark, and that's worse than his high water mark just after the election. But, it's not exactly a complete repudiation of him. And the focus seems to be, even the disapproval is, well, he hasn't done enough to bring down the cost of milk, which is pretty obvious. On the first day, it was all supposed to be better, and it's all got the inflation in his first month has been really bad. And the tariffs that he seems dead set on imposing are going to really, I think, make everyday prices higher for Americans. But that seems to be the focus rather than the really more grave issues of constitutional rule. But there are undercurrents here that, just to report, 52% do say he's going too far in using his executive powers. Now, to my mind, it should be going too far. How about completely blowing out of the water and doing constitutional violations that no president other than Trump 1.0 has come close to? No, that's not what the American people are saying so far. And how about 95% of people saying so? I mean, one has to hope that the future day will come when we look back on him as the most authoritarian and constitutionally destructive president of all time. But the needle is moving in that direction, but it's not in any way moving into red and super red. You do have people feeling pessimistic. That's part and parcel of the assessment that he hasn't paid enough attention to the country's most important problems. And to them, again, it's the focus on prices at the supermarket and the like. Remember, he had made some inroads among traditionally Democratic leaning groups, younger persons, Hispanic adults, and the like. That seems to be abating. And then just in general, again, there's murmurs or maybe a little bit more about the guy's, just going too far and his power mad. That, of course, to me and many of my colleagues is the screaming headline. And I'll just say, it's becoming a headline, maybe not screaming, but trends are in the right direction. Now, it's an interesting thing because Trump seems to be moving ahead really without concern in a way. I mean, he's doing things that I think are going to be very unpopular, and Elon Musk is of the view that the stars are aligned better than they're ever going to be, and screw it, let's just go for the full Monty. And they are doing that, shutting down agencies, and they are really prepared to harm the individual Americans so much and to sort of that brings shame on the country internationally, within the country for all the immigration stuff. And it has the feel of a real authoritarian who, as opposed to a populist, he is not looking to pander. It doesn't seem. You saw, him posing with a crown yesterday. So it's funny how much we can take. I think it mattered more in the first term, especially because he was in his first term and now he's in his second, which, unless there's a constitutional coup, can't rule out that possibility, he'll be finished. That he's actually looking to really change America's foreign policy, standing in the world, economic basics, all in ways that seem, it strikes me and people who I think really are scholars here, just as terrible developments for world peace, stability, U.S. prosperity, everything that's made the country great, especially in the post-Cold War era. Seems, he is almost gleefully trampling underfoot, as is Elon Musk, whose political stripes have really come out with his, support for the far-right German party and the like. So that's the other kind of asterisk here is, yes, there's developing unease within the American public. He is developing unpopularity, but for reasons that don't seem to focus on the most core issues, and for, in a setting where it's not clear he really gives a frig about it. So, it's not as if I think we can say the fight has to be taken to him without as more than just the loss of popular support. Loss of popular support, of course, could be huge, especially because of what it would mean for the midterms, and if he didn't have a hammerlock control over a cowed Senate and House of Representatives, things would change very dramatically. Okay, so bottom line, yes, people are waking up and saying, this guy ain't so great, and especially this guy ain't doing what he promised to do. But I would say the real alarm bells for the really vital factors, especially the Constitution, are happening, but they're distant and, need to have, continuous focus to make people understand just what's at stake here now. And it's a lot more than the price of milk in the supermarkets. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.